and have been raised in a culture where there is a particular way that a relationship looks. And anything that starts to smell of that for me, I did enough of it where I was controlled and felt like I was a possession or whatever those things were, or prize, I have no interest in it. Even though the grief does emerge and that comes and I hold that, I think of what I've done, and I woke up every morning trying to do my best. I didn't wake up one morning and be like, I'm going to mess this day up.
That's right.
So I must be where I'm supposed to be.
Tell us the truth! All right, so what's good, YouTube? It's your man, Book of AlphaRonomy, a.k.a. Doc BOA. Yep, I got time today. When women are young, they understand the reality that the world is just one big oyster, and they're just running around plucking pearls. Some of the most beautiful, rare, pristine pearls in the world are available to women. They're always on the yachts. They're sought after by the billionaires, by the millionaires. They're fantasized about by the penniers. But something happens when they get to a certain age. The billionaires don't call them anymore. The millionaires don't fly them in anymore. And even the penniers don't think about them when they fantasize. And then finally, they get to the point where they realize they should have spent more time thinking about their future selves instead of taking advantage of everyone they could during that time. And one example of that is Tracy Ellis Ross. Now, Tracy Ellis Ross is notorious for perpetuating the idea that she is happily single, that she's totally pleased with being single, that nothing is wrong with it, and she doesn't care if she never has anyone. But now she's 52 years old. And at 52 years old, you understand something as a woman. And some men understand it as well. Being alone in your 50s is not a good thing. It's not the same as when you were 35. If you're 55 and you're alone and every day you're waking up by yourself, it's not the same as when you're 35. When you're 35 as a man, especially, you should be alone. You should be building what you have to build. But at a certain point, you just get to the point where you have everything you need. And in a woman's case, her options are so slim that they're almost non-existent. Now, in this interview, we're going to listen to a couple of clips from Tracy Ellis Ross where she's sitting down talking to, guess what? None other than Michelle Obama, who recently has declared that she wants to be free because she's been tied down so long. And here Tracy Ellis Ross is talking about she wants to be tied down because she's been free so long. But when you listen to all of the unrealistic standards this woman has based on the adjustments she's made to herself over the years, and you hear how she can't ever hope to find a man that's going to settle for her now, not her settle for him. This is going to open up a lot of your minds to the things I say all of the time. When a woman gets to a certain point in life, outside of what she can do for you financially, she has no other use. Let's take a listen to these clips, man, and we'll come back and chop it up on a real tip.
And, you know, as much as grief does surface for me around not having children and not having a partner, I still wouldn't want the wrong partner.
That's a great point for people to hear.
Yes. I'm not interested in that. You have to make my life better. It can't just be, you know, I'm in a relationship to be in a relationship. So even though the grief does emerge and that comes and I hold that, I think of what I've done, and I woke up every morning trying to do my best. I didn't wake up one morning and be like, I'm going to mess this day up.
That's right.
So I must be where I'm supposed to be. And I don't know, sometimes I think of all of the things I've done, the courage that I've had to have and what I've had to learn how to navigate as a single person with no one to hide behind. And it's built a really beautiful experience around me. And I have incredible friends.
Now, you heard her say, so let's listen to these 3 clips. We'll listen to them and we'll chime in about every minute or so just to break down what's been said so far. Now, what you hear is a woman who's torn. She loves the life she has built career-wise, but she sacrificed everything that would attract a man to her back when she was young and very attractive. See, what a woman doesn't understand is once your physicality is gone, if you haven't worked on that other aspect of yourself, those other aspects of yourself, whether you are not going to be able to attract a man long term, because physicality, we know physicality wanes, but when the physicality isn't there anymore, you got to have some sweetness, you got to have some softness, you got to have some energy in you that helps you understand that you need to be cooperative, that you need to do everything you can. Sometimes you got to go along to get along. Sometimes you got to know when to zip your lip. And when a woman has established herself in her career and she spent 50 years doing that, she's a lost cause for a man who's really thinking about putting a woman in a wife position. Because like she just stated, she doesn't want the wrong partner. But here's the thing. If you're looking for perfection, everyone is the wrong partner. I say this to you men as well. Y'all, you're looking for the perfect woman. And so you say, man, she ain't this because, or she ain't this because, hey, man, you're not going to find perfect. The 80-20 rule holds true. Now, you're absolutely blessed if you get an 85-15, but the 80-20 rule is phenomenal. That's the best you could hope for. And here's a woman who's saying, well, there's no man that's good enough for me. I don't want the wrong partner. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm about. I don't know what I have to offer someone. You must come and improve my life. But not once are you going to hear this woman say what she brings to a man's life. But let's finish listening to her.
Because I had to ask myself that question. I was like, what is this about?
Yeah.
Because I want a partner. And so often, and it's not just that I'm older, I'm also very embodied. I am a full, very whole person who knows myself, who is in charge of my life, and who lives a very full, just robust life. So it's not just age, it's like life experience and sort of a difference. But I had to ask myself the question, why? Why does this keep sort of coming up other than they're hot and gorgeous?
There's that.
There's that. But a lot of men my age are steeped in a toxic masculinity and have been raised in a culture where there is a particular way that a relationship looks. And anything that starts to smell of that for me, I did enough of it where I was controlled and felt like I was a possession or whatever those things were, or prize, I have no interest in it.
See, here's what y'all understand. Now, you got to understand, this woman used the word grief. You know what grief is? Grief is what you feel when someone dies. This woman feels like her opportunity to be in a relationship is dying. So she's feeling grief, and she should feel grief. Because when you hear a woman say she doesn't want the traditional man, she doesn't want a masculine man. She doesn't want a man who sees a relationship the way a relationship has always been. But isn't she looking around? Relationships are failing because of the lack of tradition. But I say this to you, men. This is no problem. This supports what I tell you all the time. The boss chick is going to be in this position. She's not going to be equipped for a man who has his shit together long term, because ain't no man wants a partner. You notice she uses the term partner. As men, we don't want partners. The only men who want partners are simps. The man who meets a woman and he feels like she's above him. He feels like he's marrying up or he's dating up. There is no such thing as dating up for a man who has all this shit together. If you pull everything together you need to have together as a masculine man, you got your mind right, you got your body right, you got your spirit right, you got your emotions under control. Bro, let me tell you something, man. There is nothing that a woman can do. There's nothing that a woman can do to even be on your level. So when you look up to a woman, yes, you'll be looking for a partner because you feel like the woman can make your life better. But how can she? If you build the best life for yourself, she can't. And so here's a woman who has that same mindset. And you notice she calls it toxic masculinity for you to want a traditional woman. Now, I guarantee you this woman will expect you to provide and protect for her. Or she wants you to buy into a 50-50 relationship. Well, here's the thing. As men, we don't want 50-50 relationships. I can live my life perfectly fine without adding you to it so we can be 50-50. I don't need you to be 50-50. But here's the thing. As a woman who's 52 years old, she is running out of options. She has run out of options. The only men she can get with are men who only want to smash her. She's going to talk about that as well. But I want y'all to understand, as a man at 52 years old, all you got, listen, even if you're not in the best shape, take the next 6 months, lay off those carbs and just work out every day. You ain't just do basic movements every day. Let me tell you something. You go in there, man. Here's what you do. You do a split workout. Or I say do this. Go in there and do supersets. Superset it. Go in there, have a quick workout and do supersets. Go in there, hit chest and back on the same day. Hit bis and tris on the same day. You can hit shoulders all around because shoulders are rotation. You hit front delts, rear delts. You can do all of that. Then you hit quads and hams on the same day. You ain't even got to be in the gym every day. You know what I'm saying? You go to the gym about 4 days a week. That's it. And you go in there, you bang everything. And you go in there, man, just do that. Do that over long term. Now, if you want to be a bodybuilder, you got to do other things. But if you just want to get in shape and be muscular and look like a masculine man physically, man, that's all you got to do. And cut those carbs, man. Get you a proper amount of protein. You ain't got to be getting no crazy 1 pound per body weight, 1 gram per pound of body weight. None of that foolishness, unless you want to be a bodybuilder. Otherwise, just get in shape and watch how your life change at 52. At 52, if you got your mind right, your body right, your spirit right, and your money right, man, the age range for women for you is like 21 to 70. And, you know, as far as you want to go, like there is no limit for you. You know what I mean? There is no limit for you. You understand what I'm saying? Man, there is no limit for OGBOA. Man, there's no limit. You 45, 50, 55, man, as long as you take care of those things, man, there's no limit for you. But a woman at 52, her options are limited. She can get a young man, but he just happy to be with Tracy Ellis Ross. And the difference between her and say like Drell Michelle's still young enough to have a baby. Tracy Ellis Ross ain't. So she can't even have a baby with a man and lock him in. She's starting to realize that all she is something to play with, not to stay with. And she's having a hard time accepting that, even though she created this monster all on her own. But let's listen to this last clip, man, and we'll come back and chop it up about that one.
So it's a generational thing? So it didn't matter how you met them, or is it just kind of the guys you're meeting?
That's obviously
too big of a generalization.
It's a generalization,
Yeah.
but because I have dated men my age, there is a difference. There is an openness that occurs with a younger man around whether it's gender fluidity or not even having an issue with homosexuality. I mean, something as basic as that.
Right. Yeah.
That there's
No, I
times
hear you.
where I'll be, sitting across the table from somebody and just like, what did you just say?
Yeah, what century are you?
Like, oh my God.
Where's your horse and buggy?
Yeah, like, I'm so sorry.
And your bedpan.
Yeah, for real.
Chamber pot.
Yeah,
Your
your chamber pot. Your chamber pot. Like, where I'm just like, yeah, this is not a match.
Yeah.
And I have long been past the age where I feel like it's my job to teach somebody or grow them up.
Yeah.
That I'm not interested in. So, but it's interesting. I mean, there's so many different philosophies on dating. And I have come up with mine. I have come up with what works for me and what makes sense for me and what feels safe for me.
Yep.
I mean, like, I'm not on dating apps. I have friends that have great success with dating apps, but that's just not something I'm comfortable
So
with.
you're meeting folks in the wild then?
That's the only way for me. Or someone sets me up, or
Okay.
I meet them at an event. I meet someone. It's usually people that also have a level of recognition that they, have as much to lose as me to a certain extent. I don't know. I mean, I haven't had great luck lately, but I do have to say I'm moving up on what it is that I'm looking for as a match.
Now, when you hear a woman talk like this, she can't make it work with older men because they're too set in their ways. She can't make it work with younger men because they're not set enough in their ways. Here's a woman who has smacked into that wall. And there is no she's almost at the wall. This woman is beyond the wall. She can't figure out why no man wants her. No man wants her. Yes, there are men who will smash her. Hell, I'm gonna be honest with you. The way she be looking at her dresses, sometime, man, I'd touch her. But I wouldn't keep her. Not because of anything else other than her mindset. Her mindset is the mindset of a boss chick. Well, here's the thing. A 52-year-old boss chick knows one thing. No man truly wants her. No man's going to make no adjustments for her. No man's going to even act like you want to make adjustments for her because she's 52, and every man has a better option than a 52-year-old. And when I say every man, I mean any man who is in a position in life to be on a date with a famous, successful woman has better options than the 52-year-old famous, successful woman. There's better options. You got to be on a certain level to be at an event where you can meet Tracy Ellis Ross and she recognizes you and you can walk up and talk to her. But those men are not looking to wife up a 52-year-old Tracy Ellis Ross unless she's sweet as peach pie and ready to do the one thing that these women never want to do: submit and give that man some shut upness and obedience. Or she could just continue to live this life she's living where men want to play with her but not stay with her. But after a while, men don't even want to play with you. Like, there ain't many men who want to play with a 60-year-old woman, no matter how old, no matter how she looks. You know what I'm saying? She could look very good. But I'm not saying there are no men, but there just aren't many men who want to play with even a fine 60-year-old woman. A 60-year-old man that still look good and he in shape, man, he can still have some options. And that's just the way it is. And another thing is, how many men are only actually going to take her seriously when she can't even have no kids? That's the main thing. She can't have no kids. So if a young man want babies, Tracy Ellis Ross can't give you no babies, and you can tell she's too high strung to be okay with just being your woman and knowing that you're going to have a younger woman to have babies with. She don't want to do that. Why? Because she's set in her ways and she calls out toxic masculinity, but this is toxic femininity. Now, I want you to understand the illogic of a woman saying, I haven't had much luck on this level. My response to that is not to adjust myself, not to look at myself and see where I can improve and be better. It's to up my standards and requirements even more. Wait a minute. If you can't find anyone to meet your standards and requirements now, why in the hell would you raise them? But that's the illogic of a woman. Instead of saying, well, you know what? I'm going to look at myself and make sure that it's not me, and I'm going to do this thing and that thing, and I'm going to see if I can fix myself. She doesn't do that. She says, I'm going to increase my standards even more, even though I can't even find a man to meet these standards, because they're so unrealistic. Well, my answer is not to make them less unrealistic. It's to make them more unrealistic. This is what you're dealing with in this society, brothers. And I want y'all to understand, the older a woman gets, the colder a woman gets, but at the same time, the bolder she gets. And this is an example of that. So when I tell you, men, the boss chick is not a woman that you want to do nothing with, man, dog, I don't even want to play with the boss chick. The only thing a boss chick do to me, man, is break bread. I'm not going to touch her if she ain't breaking bread. To deal with this type of foolishness, man, she got to pay me. She got to pay me for my time. She got to pay me for my mind. You know what I'm saying? She got to pay to pull me away from my grind. She got to pay me. Otherwise, what's the purpose of having a boss chick who knows nothing about femininity, knows nothing about catering to you, knows nothing about submission, knows nothing about obedience, and most certainly ain't going to shut her mouth? What's the purpose in dealing with her? Man, she got to pay what she weigh or pay what I say, one or the other one. Petite women had to pay what I say, and big girls had to pay what they weigh. Otherwise, I ain't got nothing to do with you. I don't care what kind of man or woman can go find. Who cares? There's simps out there for every woman. But if you're going to be in my life, baby girl, you're going to have to show me something. You're going to have to show me something. You talking about, I got to improve your life? Nah, baby girl, you got to show me what kind of contribution you can give to the solution. That's all I'm saying. Your contribution to the solution is your restitution. And that's really all it is. So y'all let me know what y'all think about this topic, man. I mean, I think this is a pretty good piece of insight into how the mind of older woman works. When she's hit the wall, she ain't got no man, she ain't got no baby, she ain't got none of that. And we starting to hear a lot of them lately, because you know what's happening? They're starting to realize that men have options. Even men in other cultures, successful men in other cultures, they want young, beautiful women too. Nobody wants a woman who's been through all of these bodies, never figured out how to make a relationship work, and then you think you're supposed to come around and then you want to be around me at your age with all these little baddies around me. That's not going to be right. And even a man who's looking for a straight up wife, he doesn't want to wife the 52-year-old Tracy Ellis Ross, who's been through all of these, not just the body count, but the emotional count, when there's a young woman who ain't got no body count and no emotional count. Why would a man choose her? She got to put in a whole bunch of work to get chose. Otherwise, she can keep on being cold because she damn near froze. Like this video on your way out if you enjoyed the content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. When you subscribe, click that notification bell. Make sure your notifications are on so you can be alerted to when I upload some more of this Prism of the Ism. And as always, Alpha's up, Beta's down. Peace.